Right, click the links to join the channel here over at SubScribeStar, now over at Odyssey. So BBC gaming presenter Jules Hardy calls for current Sweet Baby Incorporated discourse to end with a final Bolshevik purge of ideological opponents from the medium. Marxist, Saul Alinsky, Frankfurt School 101. So the thing is, to Bolsheviks, everything is political war, and video games are just another tool to push their toxic alt-left agenda. And, like, why are women in anything, really? And Jules Hardy is some useful idiot, wants to have a communist purge for wrong-thinking men who think the Larry Fink, BlackRock, anti-white globalist games are cancer, which they very much are, or in her words, critical of the general presence of diversity, inclusion, and equity-focused consultation companies within the video game industry. Yeah, they make games horrible. And the thing is, you're the consumer. You're the one, there's this two-party contract. You're the one with money in your hand, and they're the ones selling you a game. You don't have to explain your reasoning behind why diversity is cancer. I mean, we're talking about it in these videos, but when you get on social media, you just go, yeah, as the buyer, the consumer, the potential buyer, I don't want any of this diversity. Whatever these left-wing useful idiots are pushing, we're not on board with it. Games don't need these consultation companies. And social media is the place for that, to get out there and let people very publicly know. It's kind of related to the concept of YouTube turned off the dislike when Biden got elected because they didn't want people to see, a totally fair election, how unpopular his ideas were, because people would start to catch on that, like, wait a minute, the media and the government were releasing, every time CNN comes out with a news clip, they're getting just nuked from orbit. Something doesn't make sense. They don't want people to see that. So Google, which is, on board the same puppet masters, they're partying at the same islands with the heads of CNN, MSNBC, and Biden's cabinet. They want to control the narrative so tightly. Otherwise, if people could see that, Biden's speeches or CNN, the videos were getting like a just insane downvote ratio, people would slowly come to the conclusion that something's going on. These ideas aren't very popular, and yet they're being pushed. It's AstroTurf. It's like somebody's pulling the strings behind the curtain. It's like, oh, don't worry, Google is here to turn off the downvotes. Yeah, that's suspicious. You think the media is going to talk about that? No, I mean, the media doesn't talk about a lot of things. Anyway, so she wants to get rid of most of the players. Now, here's the thing: for other reasons, I support that. I support games getting so insufferably woke that nobody plays them. People, Hollywood is getting to this binary point. I saw Roadhouse, the remake, on an Odyssey live stream. What's his name? Ben Tanklin. He's got an Odyssey and a GTV live stream, and it's the horrible movies. We watch these horrible movies on these live streams at night, and you wouldn't watch them by themselves yourself, but if you're watching it with the people and you can pause the movie and talk about it and talk in the comments, it makes it kind of way more interesting. And I look at this movie and it's like, this is just like just a diversity Larry Fink checklist. It's friggin' horrible. It doesn't. And the first movie, the first Roadhouse, sorry the fans, I enjoyed it as well, but I enjoyed it for what it was, a really dumb 80s flick. It wasn't, the first movie wasn't Shakespeare, and then they followed up with, this is just a diversity checklist. This is friggin' horrible. It's, oh, hey, the POC woman is smart and funny and the voice of moral authority, and all the evil guys are blonde. And I saw some other movie the other day. It was about, like, blonde, like, South American drug dealers or something. It's just, I mean, it's insane. It's just, every movie is like that, and the power is in watching these on live streams. Anyway, I think The Beekeeper was the other one I watched, is in discussing these things with other people, and you go like, this is just so formulaic. It's friggin' horrible, and this is the future of Hollywood. It's like, well, I think Hollywood's going to take you're going to see in your lifetime, the next 10 years, you're going to see a radical transformation of Hollywood. Anyway, the thing with the video games is Top Gear Gaming Show. Anything with who's this guy? Will Wheaton. God, what a soy boy. What a cliche this dude is. I mean, anything with him in it is just, I hate to poison the well, but very much. The thing is, people waste time playing games when they should be, think of war. They should be, don't look at boobs, think of war. Reading, or IRL with friends. You should sitting on the couch or actually talking with people. I will say the Odyssey live streams, like, we're not going to be able to watch movies, copyright protected movies for long. Eventually Odyssey is going to crack down on that, but when a new platform gets started, for the first year it's a lot of fun until it kind of gets itself organized, and right now the live streams are on Odyssey are just off the friggin' hook. So people should be reading books, and I was thinking, when you should have a stack of like 2 dozen books at home when there's just nothing on, and you want to listen to a live stream but there's no live streams on, and you don't want to watch some stupid movie. It's like you should have that stack of 2 dozen books, and some should be smart books and some should be like Clive Cussler books, but just that books you haven't read before, and just have that ready. You're like, oh, there's nothing on a Thursday night, I can put 90 minutes into this book. Anyway, the thing is, I support Hollywood and games giving itself monkeypox and AIDS, and just being so insufferably woke for the audience that the audience eventually has that turnaround point where they're spending more time watching people make fun of how cancerously woke Hollywood is on Odyssey live streams, or even on like the Mauler types on YouTube. People doing like 6-hour breakdowns of how crap Star Wars is, which is vastly more entertaining than anything that Disney is able to put out. So, read Aristotle or go jogging with your militia, because all the bread and circuses are sugar-coated poison. The left seems to lack self-awareness and has to accelerate everything to destruction. And I know this doesn't make me popular doing a pop culture channel crapping on pop culture, but guys whining about video games is cringe. You're an adult. And the thing is, I think deep down, I think most of these guys know something is like they shouldn't, probably deep down they know they shouldn't be playing video games, because it's a displacement activity for other things. Read a book, talk to other humans in real life, go get in shape, eat pussy, and just like read a lot of books. That there's probably like 100 basic books from Aristotle on down that you kind of have to have under your belt to consider yourself. And for sure it's more than 100, but you could say at least there's like, you can make a list of the top 100 books. Anyway, so Sweet Baby and Black Girl Games, Alyssa Mercante, and Kotaku shouldn't have any power over you at all. Sell your Xbox and buy a 223. And once you start to see how much propaganda is in everything, the pop culture, the taste turns to ashes in your mouth. And now that I lost 10 subs over that, I joke, but it seriously will be a few down. I don't care about YouTube. These left wingers are using social pressure to push Marxist nonsense, like the Frankfurt School, the diversity stuff. Diversity is cancer. Feminism is cancer. Nobody wants to hear woke women talking. I'd rather listen to Laura Loomer. Someone had a Twitter thread saying that games were always going to be political, implying that you might as well lean into it. I totally agree. It's not enough to cuck and try to argue with these people in every detail. Just admit that these people are anti-white, and whatever diversity they're pushing, and they're anti-nation, anti-Christian, anti a lot of stuff, misinterest, is going to be a cover for their racism. Whatever they touch turns to poison. And now you got social media. This is a great opportunity to call them out over everything, to make it very publicly known that these people hate you, and that there's something wrong with the narrative where they're not making things that are selling to an audience. They're openly making propaganda, and they brag about it online. They can't help themselves. So you have to put it before the gamers to put them in the position of, if you support this, you're just a cuck pussy, and eventually they'll stop supporting. The Kotaku, the Sweet Baby, the Black Girl Games, all these people hate you because you're of European descent. That is the primary issue. They also hate Christians, nationalists, conservatives, any white people that have in-group preferences. They hate. You go, wait a minute, but all these other groups have in-group preferences, and you totally support that. And it's like they don't know what to say to that. It's like, you're right, we just hate you. That has to be brought to people's attention. You're not going to argue in good faith with them. I've been following all those left-wing accounts on Twitter. Alyssa Mercante is actually a sociopath. Something is wrong with her. She wanted to fight Melanie Mac or something, who's some skinny little YouTube girl who weighs like 120 pounds, who talks about, I don't know, pop culture and video games. And Alyssa at Kotaku, who lifts weights like crazy. She's probably like 170 pounds, pumping iron. She wanted to fight her over like video games. It's like, why don't you just you're on Twitter, why don't you just have a discussion on social media politely like reasonable adults? Like, now I want to fight you in it. It's like, shut up, dude. You're not. This is. You should be able to beat her in the open marketplace of ideas. So the game consulting companies are racist assholes that can go eat a bag of dicks. Games don't need Larry Fink funded sensitivity consultants. And ultimately, your power is in your shoes, is just walking away from these people, and your wallet is in not buying these games or supporting the companies at all. This soft GamerGate 2.0 is different from 2014 because people have had 10 years to see what blood-sucking vermin parasites the mainstream media is, including the games journalists. We've had 10 years of the milquetoast people like James, or what's that guy's name at the Quartering, Jeremy at the Quartering, calling them urinalists and calling out how evil and toxic the left wing actually is. I mean, you're starting to see these people for what they are. You're like, oh, the problem's the left wing all along. It's like, oh, they were the racists the whole times? Yeah, that's what we've been saying for a long, long time. And the thing is, they're not vaguely anti-gamer. It's mostly that they're anti-European people. If you ask them if they're pro every other group of person, then you get to white, and then they'll suddenly deflect from the question. You got to make that unacceptable. My point is that you're better off getting to the heart of the issue. These alt-left globalists. They hate you based on your being of European descent. If they're not pro-white, then you shouldn't be supporting their companies. Nobody wants diversity in games because it just translates into blonde man bad and black girl is the reasonable, smart voice of moral authority. And, people go like, oh, we just want diversity done right, or it was done back in the day. It's like, yeah, that's true enough, but that ship has sailed. That's why I don't, argue to stay in place is like why the right wing has been losing for so long. You got to up your game and be more honest, and aggressive with these people, because you everything's get dragged to the left. That's why the conservatives don't conserve anything, because they're not moving to the right. They're just trying to slowly go left. It's kind of similar with the video games. You have to call them out for what they are, so everyone sees the argument on the table, how these people feel about you. The main issue is for them is ethnicity. They hate you because of your origin, and they want to portray you in a negative light to degrade and dehumanize you. And I know I harp on this all the time, but I also know that other people are starting to see this. If a company could not take the protagonists and antagonists in a game and turn them all one ethnicity, or take some game, where its POC is the Mary Sue character, and the blonde man is the South American drug dealer for some bizarre reason, and you go, okay, take that game and turn the characters around, just race swap all the characters, protagonists and antagonists. So you've got the POCs being cast in a negative, degrading, dehumanizing light, and then suddenly they care about other people. It's like, well, if you can't turn around protagonists and antagonists, or make all the characters black, or what was that Resident Evil Part 5 where it's filmed in Africa, and they're like, yeah, you can't shoot black zombies, but you're in Europe and you can shoot them, or you're in some Asian country, you're shooting them. That's cool. Yeah, but what's the difference? We're scared. Yeah, that's the difference. That if you can't make them all black, all Irish, all, or reverse the protagonist and antagonist, it's like these are kind of tests for anti-white bias. Then there's a problem with the game. The game is expecting you to accept that blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are going to be always going to be able to degrade and dehumanize them. You have to stop that. It's like, it's not enough to just sit on your couch and just be a coomer consumer. It's like, there goes another 2 subs. Yeah, video games are not great, and whining about video games are not great either. It's like you have you have billions of dollars of potential in, like, if you have to play games, make your voice heard. At least don't be like the Bud Light, the Budweiser owned by Anheuser-Busch. It's like people stopped drinking Bud Light, but they didn't stop drinking Anheuser-Busch. It's like, you're gonna have to step up the game, and you do that by forming consumer networks and other kinds of identity group networks. The thing is, if a company can't fix this, then the games are anti-white, and you don't want to support anything that they touch. And a black girl gamer or a sweet baby game consulting company, and then you look at the people, you look at the social media, you're like, oh, you're fucking toxic. Anything you touch, oh yeah. So all they did was this Cambrutus, the Brazilian guy, he just made a list of the games that they were involved in, Sweet Baby, and then I think they started on the Black Girl Gamer thing. You go, if you're proud of your work, there shouldn't be a problem with this. The consumer should be informed of the games you're associated with. Many of the consumers do not like what you're doing to these games. They don't want to waste their time or money buying anything. Like once you know a Lotta is a lemon, you're not going to buy any version of a Lotta. You're going to stick with a Ford if you have the option. You don't want the sports car Lotta or the SUV Lotta. They're all going to be crap. I don't think they even make those, but or Yugoslavian, the Yugo back in the day. They're all going to be garbage because they were. It's like, well, that's what Sweet Baby, that's what Black Girl Gamers, that's what Kotaku's doing. And the mainstream games, Kotaku type of CBR type of whatever media. It's like, hey, work on those guides, guy. I hear that the company backed down on that. They're going to defend them no matter what because this is like they're Bolsheviks. You can ask them, or you guys Marxists? Oh hell yeah, we're all Marxists. It's like, well, don't stop supporting them. Stop paying their bills. And if it means you stop playing their video games, it's like, oh heaven forbid you stop playing video games. Like, there goes another 3 subscribers. These people are telling you who they are. They're evil parasites who manipulate and destroy everything they touch. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Join us, the Royal We, over at the Subscribe Star. And I'll see you guys all next episode.